When our souls leave our bodies, just after death, most enter a light that transports our souls to a place that some call heaven. In some cases this does not happen. For whatever reason some souls do not enter the light tunnel. It seems it is possible to avoid entering the light by choice. Now this may not be a conscious choice, but it can happen. An example would be: once you exit your body, one can become afraid when one realizes there is something not normal happening. Fear can overtake you, and, quite naturally, you may seek the safety of a loved one. You may make an effort to move toward what you perceive as safety and away from the light. Ghosts that have passed through the light tunnel and those that haven't can be seen by us. Here we will be discussing the souls that have failed to pass through the light. There is a popular belief that a ghost is a lost soul with unfinished business, and once the issues holding it to the earthly plane are resolved, it can pass over. This is nonsensical. It's a fairy tale we tell ourselves to make the idea of not passing over less dreadful. Sometimes, a misstep cannot be recovered from. Life is sometimes very rough. Some believe that the light tunnel is opened by a mechanism in the body as a natural biological migration to the next stage of life, allowing the soul to pass over. Much like a caterpillar cocooning to become a butterfly. Others believe that God opens the tunnel when one dies. Although, there are many other beliefs as to how and why this happens. People who have had near-death experiences often tell of either, once they leave their bodies, appearing in the light, or hovering over their bodies and being drawn into the light. Then, at some point, their soul comes back to their bodies. It would stand to reason that once they re-enter the body, the light tunnel closes. The same closure seems to take place if a soul misses going into the light tunnel. Otherwise, if the light tunnel does not close, then the soul could pass over at any time and as many times as it chooses. It seems the problem with this is that the light only stays open for a limited amount of time, and once it closes it doesn't appear that it can be reopened. Once the light tunnel closes, the soul becomes trapped in a place that is neither here, or at the end point of the light. It's a space in between these places. This place is not where a soul is destined to end up. One has to consider that instinctually a species does not migrate to inhospitable places deliberately. In the animal world, birds fly south during the winter months and north during the summer months. This is something that is encoded into their being. If you think of death as the beginning of a migration to the next phase of a being's life cycle, and passing through the light tunnel takes the soul to a hospitable environment, it would stand to reason that the new environment beyond the light is conducive to the soul retaining the attributes of the corporeal body. Once the light tunnel closes, a soul will find itself in a cold realm that has no substance. A place where the warmth of the sun cannot penetrate. Without a body there is no warmth for the soul. The new environment that the lost soul finds itself in is a place of no physicality. The soul, being ephemeral, has no means of physically interacting with other lost souls, much less anything else. It seems the physics of this place doesn't allow physical touch. This seems to make sense if you think of the light tunnel as a wormhole. It may be necessary for the soul to take on a more ethereal state in order to pass through this interdimensional gateway. The only substantive thing that seems to exist in this place is an atmosphere. This is a given once you think about it, but also surprising once you start to think about it farther. A soul can speak. We often hear stories of people that hear the voices of the dead. Let's take a quick look at the mechanics of sound. In order for a sound to be generated and then perceived, a few things are needed. The most important is the creation of a sound wave. Sound does not travel in a vacuum. Next, vocal cords and lungs to create the sound are needed, then we need working eardrums, and the supporting mechanisms to hear the sound. What's interesting about this is that even though the body and soul have gone their separate ways, the soul still seems to retain all the physical attributes and functionality of the body. For the souls that fail to pass through the tunnel, they are forever trapped in a world without substance. Able to see us but very rarely able to interact with the world they once knew. They have been separated from all that they have known. The part of their families that remains alive. And, unable to pass on, so as to be reunited with their loved ones on the other side of the light tunnel. They have become quiet bystanders.